Welcome everyone to this brief and informative tutorial on how to utilize the built-in NVR feature for parking lot management. This feature is ideal for managing parking areas with a single dual lane entrance and exit or multiple entry and exit points. In the next 10 minutes, you'll learn how to set up and manage your very own parking lot. So let's get started. You can configure the parking lot either through the NVR's web interface or its local interface. The steps are the same for both methods. Start by navigating to the application settings. However, for this tutorial, I will use the web interface and guide you through each step. Let's begin with the configuration. On this page, you're going to name your parking lot. Specify the total number of parking spaces and set the current vacancy. It's important to note that these details should be entered when no vehicles are passing through the entrances or exits to ensure accuracy in parking space tracking. If you'd like to allow certain vehicles to automatically exit the parking lot, you can enter their license plate numbers here, separating multiple plates with commas. Next, let's move on to the open gate setting. This software allows users to manually open up the gate, overriding the automated process. If the manual release comment feature is enabled, users will be prompted to add a comment each time they manually release the gate. Once we're done, hit apply. Now let's go into the parking section. In this area, any existing license plate database groups will automatically appear in the parking lot management application. Currently, it's empty because we haven't created any databases. Let's create one by going to the settings, then going to events and analytics, finding the database section and selecting vehicle database. If there are any existing databases, they would show up here. To create a new database, click on Add Group. Give the group a name. And by the way, you can add multiple groups. Once a group is created, we can begin adding license plates to it. For each license plate, you can also add optional details such as vehicle type and owner information. I've just created two license plate records for company number 1. Now I'll add a license plate for company number 2. For this tutorial, it's important to note that within company number 1's groups, I have 2 license plate records, and within company 2's group, I have 1 license plate record. I want you to remember this because with our parking lot management, you can actually limit the number of vehicles allowed in the parking lot based on which group they belong to. Let's return to the parking lot management application and check the parking settings again. Now the license plate groups I've just created are listed. For each group, you can set parking options. For instance, for company number 1, you can deny entry completely by selecting no parking, or you can select use groups parking spaces, which will assign a set number of parking bays to the group. Once that number is reached, no additional vehicles can enter until a vehicle from that group exits. For this tutorial, I'm going to allow a limit of 1 parking space for this group, and I'm going to set the current group vacancy as 0. You can also set a schedule for when these vehicles from each database group can access the parking lot. You can use a default calendar or create your own custom calendar by clicking on Schedule Management. Finally, you can set up an email address to receive notifications each time a successful transaction occurs within the database group. These emails will include information such as plate number, the camera that captured the data, the direction, entry time, the owner's details, and a snapshot of the scene. For Company 2, I won't apply any limits to the number of parking spaces, but I'm going to restrict their access to weekdays only. Let's move on to the entrance and exit settings. Here you'll see all the LPR cameras connected to your NVR. Currently, I have 3 LPR cameras connected, and I'll set up 2 of them for the parking lot module. By default, each camera's direction is set to closed, meaning it's disabled. However, you can enable each camera and assign a direction, either entrance, exit, or both. For camera number 1, I'm going to select this as an entrance camera. After that, you can choose which alarm output will be triggered upon successful authentication. By default, it will select its own alarm output, but you can select any alarm output from the system, including onboard outputs on the NVR or from connected devices. The second camera I'll set up as an exit camera, keeping the alarm output on the device itself. We have successfully set up a parking lot with 2 cameras, one for entry and one for exit. We've also assigned rules to 2 license plate database groups. Company 1 has a limit of 1 parking space, and Company 2 has no limit but can only access the parking Monday through Friday. For clarity, let's review how the LPR analytics are set up for the cameras used in the parking lot management application. To do this, I'm going to go to Settings, and then locate the LPR Analytics Setup page. The LPR detection should be configured for optimal license plate recognition. However, since the recognition is being handled by the parking lot application, there's no need to enable additional recognition unless you want the NVR to trigger other actions based on the successful recognition results. Let's go back to the parking lot application and monitor the lot in real time. When a vehicle from Company 1's database group is authenticated and enters the parking lot, the number of parking spaces and the count of vehicles entered today will be updated. A snapshot of the scene when the vehicle entered will appear on the left-hand side, and for every successful or unsuccessful authentication, an entry and exit record will be generated, which include plate details, parking duration once the vehicle exits, an entrance and exit timestamp, and whether the gate was automatically opened by the parking lot module. Now let's look at what happens when a vehicle from Company 2's database enters. Remember, this group has no limit to the number of spaces, but can only access the parking lot during the week. As it is the week, the vehicle is allowed access and the total number of parking spaces decreases and the number of entries increases. Let's simulate a second vehicle from Company 1 trying to enter. Access has been denied, even though the license plate is in the database, because the parking space limit for Company 1 has been reached. Only after a vehicle from Company 1 database group exits will the application allow another vehicle from Company 1 to enter. Therefore, let's simulate the first vehicle from Company 1 exiting. Now we're going to get an exit snapshot along with the entry snapshot. And both the entry and exit details will populate in the records. You'll also get the parking duration as the system timestamps both the entry and exit times. I'll now simulate the entry of the second vehicle that was previously denied access due to parking limits. Here is the record when this vehicle first attempted to gain access and was denied. And here is the new record indicating that the same vehicle has been given access as vehicle number 1 has exited. If the first vehicle tries to re-enter, it will be denied access because the parking limit for company number 1 has been exceeded again. However, as a user, you can override this by clicking View and manually opening up the gate. As we selected manual comments are enabled on the previous settings, you'll be prompted to add a remark before the gate opens. A new record is now being created, indicating that the entrance was manually opened. At any time, you can go and review historic entry and exit events by clicking the magnifying glass in the parking lot application, or by going to Analytics Search, selecting vehicles, and filtering by entry and exit. You can choose a date range, specify which cameras or camera combinations to search, and you can even search for a specific license plate as well. This concludes the NVR parking lot management tutorial. I hope you found it helpful, and I look forward to seeing you next time.